My name's Andrew Garbus. My film is Solid, just played on the short block #1 corner. It's about a middle-aged man who goes to visit his father with Alzheimer's and the impacts and effects of that disease has on him.
So tell us where you got the idea to make this film.
So I've been trying to make the film for several years now in 2 variations. I tried to make it in a documentary format, but I hated that movie and I never showed it to anyone. And then I tried to make it in a narrative format, and we never finished it. There just wasn't enough time. I had to go off to school. This was like 3 years ago or something. So I always really wanted to touch on Alzheimer's because I never thought it was treated appropriately in film, or like very, very rarely. Nebraska does a great job of it, for instance, but like you usually get a stereotypical version of Alzheimer's, and I wanted to really capture a genuine portrait of it. So I decided last winter, I'm going to just shoot this and we're going to see how it turns out. And it's going to blend narrative and documentary. And we're just going to, and it came out really well and I'm proud of it. And so that's basically it.
Well, you said it's a very difficult subject to do, not only from the perspective of the subject, but also for the filmmaker as far as capturing. What were your influences then? If you didn't have any like film influences, what did you use to kind of help you along?
Well, I did have 3 filmmakers whose style I was influenced by. That'd be Richard Linklater, Martin Scorsese, and Alexander Payne. It's definitely got Payne influence.
Those are good ones, by the way.
Yeah. So. And so, I just sort of knew what story I wanted to tell and how I wanted to tell it. It's a weird way of making a documentary because my grandfather can't remember the next question you asked him 30 seconds. What question you asked him 30 seconds ago. So we were able to do this, ask the same question multiple times from multiple angles over multiple days. So let's provide a lot of coverage. And I did storyboard sort of where I wanted the shots to fall, not for where my grandfather's reactions would be, because those were unpredictable. But like any good documentarian would have, you'd have questions prepared going in. And these questions were questions that my dad would always ask. So those were storyboarded, and that's why the film has a narrative framing to it. It's not shot like handheld or anything or in a documentary sort of thing. And there are some stage shots, like when he's looking at the photos or whatever, that was like, okay, you would normally look at the photos, right? And my dad's like, yeah. It's like, okay, here's how we're going to construct it, sort of like that. So it's this weird documentary that's got a very narrative element to it. I hope that answered the question.
It did. And do you think it was more difficult because it was somebody that you knew, or do you think that it was easier because of that, or what?
It was hard because I was the only crew member on it for 3 out of the 5 shoots. The benefit to that was it kept it intimate. So, and I think that really comes across in the film. It's a very intimate movie. It was hard to shoot because it's just like it's brutal material to deal with, and seeing a loved one say he doesn't remember you repeatedly over and over again takes a toll on you, and it took a toll on my dad too. It was a very tough shoot for him. I'm really glad he did it, and I think he's proud of the way the film came out, but it was hard on all of us.
So you're from
New York. But I go to school in Austin.
And how has it been down there for you as a filmmaker to come here to? Why did you come here to Texas, first of all?
I got rejected from NYU and USC.
So that was the next best.
Yeah, it was my number 3 pick.
What was your number 2?
USC.
Oh, okay.
So NYU was number 1 because I bow at the Church of Scorsese. So I'm like, I gotta go to NYU. But
it's a good school. I mean, you're in good hands there, right?
UT's great, and I love Austin's film scene. I have a lot of opportunities. I'm friends with a lot of like pretty prominent filmmakers down there now. Kat Candler was my professor last semester.
Yeah, we know Kat.
Yeah, now we're friends, and she loves this movie. She's seen it a couple of times and stuff, and was really supportive in it during the editing process. David Hartstein, he produced Where Soldiers Come From. Ben Steinbauer, the director of Winnebago Man, like all really big people that have helped out and supported this movie quite a bit. Johnny McAllister, who's got a film coming out called Booger Red, which will hopefully be on the festival circuit soon. You know, just great. Andrew Garrison. There's too many people that I know who are professors or professionals working in the industry that I'm like friendly with and really admire and am closely connected with. And
So what's next for you?
well, hopefully UT allows me to do their thesis class program. So in that class I'd get to make a short film that's about 10 to 12 minutes long. And that film would be set in New York and Austin, which is really personal for me because I've always wanted to do something that combined these two places that I consider home. And it's about a failed piano player who moves from New York to Austin and gets a phone call one night, this is like 3 years in the future, from his manager that screwed him over in New York saying, Columbia wants to sign you for a new album. The catch is you have to re-sign with me. I need to know by the end of the night. And so it sort of follows this decision for him over the course of the night of where he chooses, you know, does he go back to New York or does he stay in Austin with this potential love interest of his? And it's sort of about a decision that I'm going to have to make relatively soon in terms of staying in Austin versus going to New York. Bart gave me some great advice earlier about how to deal with that. But also choosing personal life versus career life. I think that's going to be a decision I'm going to have to face at some point. I think that's a decision many people face. And so I like touching on deep themes and themes that are really universal and resonate. And I feel like Saul does that, and I feel like this next film will do that.
So where can we see your work? Where can we follow you? And
Okay, there's a Facebook page for the movie.
okay,
Just look, it's facebook.com/Saul Garbus Film. There's a Twitter page also under the same name, @Saul Garbus Film, and then there's my Twitter account, which is @Garbus-Film.
all right. Well,
_film.
we'll try to get you a lot of followers. So
Yeah.
Congratulations on being in this festival, by the way.
Thank you.
It's grown so much. I'm sure like this is gonna just help your career so much.
Yeah, it's playing next week at Indie Fest USA in Southern California on the 16th, and it's playing at the Mosaic Film Experience November 7th and 8th in Grand Rapids, Michigan.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.